Yo, yeah, you, come here. Listen, in this video, I'm gonna share with you my 7 custom profiles, my custom recipes for the Fujifilm X Pro 3, X100V, and the upcoming X-T4. And listen, some of them are even applicable to the previous cameras as well, but I wanna give this to you guys. My team didn't want me to share this with you, but I said, f them, I'm gonna give it to you guys so you can take advantage of this and maybe even iterate on them. So let's not waste any time, let's get into this. Good morning and welcome back to the channel, and like the title and myself previously suggested, I'm going to give you the custom recipes for my Fujifilm solution. The goal of this is to give you guys a fantastic starting point for what you're looking to capture. And you might not use all of them, but there might be 1 or 2 that apply to your body of work. Before I get started, listen, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing. It does make a difference and helps out me and the stuff that I'm trying to do. And I think you guys will find some value. If you're into Fuji gear, if you're into behind the scenes of photography workshops, if you're into learning about my editing workflow and you want to know how you can create them yourself, you might find some great content here to help you on your journey. So with that shameless plug out of the way, let's get back into this episode. My custom profiles. I made an episode about 2 years ago, but what happened is shortly after I made it, I kept changing it. I kept evolving, and that was because my taste kept changing. I wasn't quite sure at that time where I was going to be, and right now I'm much more confident in what these profiles mean to me. If I could summarize it, these custom profiles are designed to give me a great result in camera, duh, but something I'd be comfortable sharing with someone right away, and probably more importantly, give me a good reference point when I go back to editing my raw images, the raw files from this camera. So that's what it's designed around. So I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna go over these profiles and also elaborate when you would use them. I'm also gonna do them from my least used to my most used. So for those of you that just wanna see my #1 style, I guess you can skip ahead, but you're gonna miss a lot of good gems in between, so don't do that. Anyway, let's get this started. My first custom profile and least used is called Taste Rainbows. And as you might suggest, there's a lot of punch, a lot of color around this. I wanted to design something that was just fun and whimsical and not to be taken seriously and just gives a lot of punch and really just grabs your eyeballs and forces you to look. And especially if you're going into more interesting and eccentric architecture and landscape, this might be something that you'll consider. The film simulation I have selected is Velvia. The white balance is at auto for this one. Dynamic range is set to 400%. Highlights are at 0, shadow is at +2, color is at +2, sharpness is at +1, and noise reduction is at 0. I played around with the noise reduction, but ultimately I wanted for this specific profile, the noise reduction to be applied at the minimal level, which is weird. I guess it's 0. Is there a standard? Anyways, I guess you can say I didn't want noise added, which is why I didn't go into the negative, because it just offered a little bit too much than I wanted for this specific profile. The next profile is called Big Softy, and this one was designed to give me these really dreamy portraits, something that was muted, something that was just easier on the eyes. It was meant to be a complete departure from the previous profile and really juxtapose that in a real way. For the film simulation, I have Pro Neg Standard. I have the grain set to weak and small in size. White balance is at daylight. The dynamic range is only at 100%, highlight at -1, shadow at 0, color at -2, and noise reduction at -2. Again, this is designed if you're in a place, if you have a model with not as rich skin, or maybe even rich skin, but you just want to get more of a muted look, a softer look, that's what this is for, as the name would suggest. I don't use it as much as some of my other portrait ones, but every now and then, depending on the style, depending on the lighting, I'll go with this. Especially if there's a lot of window light, natural light coming in, I'll try this out. And I'll say this now, and I'll probably say it again, but take these styles, run with them, create some images, tag me on Instagram so I can see them as well, and leave a link in the comments if you can so other people can see your work. The next style is called Classy Chrome, and as you would guess, we're using the Classic Chrome film simulation. I have the grain at weak and small size again. The color chrome effect, I've set that to weak. The color chrome effect's blue to strong. I have the white balance at daylight, dynamic range at 400, highlight -1, shadows -1, and noise reduction at -4. This was something that I wanted to create that would emulate a film stock, but not in an overt way, if that makes sense. It was designed to be something that's like my modern interpretation of film. Something that would take that Kodacolor look and remix it a little bit. If you're into street photography, or even if you're into fashion, this might be an interesting profile to play with, just to see the new mix of tones and colors that you'll get. And especially with different kinds of skin tones, it plays really interestingly. And pair this with blue. If you have a lot of blue in your image, it's something that's gonna give you some pretty cool results, if I do say so myself. Again, it's called Classy Chrome. Try it out and let me know what you think. The next profile is called the Cinema, and this one, as you might guess, uses the Eterna film simulation, something that I absolutely love from Fujifilm. It makes for great video right out of camera, something that doesn't look too decontrasted, I don't think that's the right word, too flat that, you know, it looks like it needs to be graded, but something that gives a fantastic result that you can either use or grade on top of. With this, I have the white balance set to auto, but that being said, before I start shooting, I probably will tweak this to a fixed white balance, so it's just easier to deal with later. The grain is strong and large. Again, I want it to look like as if this was a frame out of a reel of film. The color chrome effect is at weak. The color chrome effect blue is at weak as well. I have dynamic range set at 400%, the highlight at +1, the shadow at +2, the color at +2, the sharpness at +1, and the noise reduction at -2. And if you really want to make this fun, crop your images to 16:9. It's really fun. I've had a lot of enjoyment using this in the streets and trying to create images that would look like, again, a frame out of a film reel. A frame out of a film reel. Okay, I'll try not to mess that up. Again, try this out, let me know what you think. The next one I have set up is called Balan Colour. Yes, Gajan Balan Colour. Okay, pretty vain right there. But the point of this profile was that if I just wanted to take a clean image that didn't have too much fun with the tones, I just want something that looked like, I guess what Fuji would say, what your memory remembered, that's what this profile is about. The film simulation is Fuji standard Pro Via. We have the grain set to weak and small. Color chrome effect blue is weak. Auto white balance, but again, depending on the scenario, I'll choose a white balance based on the environment that I'm in. Dynamic range at 400%, highlight -1, shadow -1, sharpness +1, and noise reduction -4. With this, I have something that I can go in, leverage my photography techniques, take some great images and share them with people. And again, it's not too pushed in a certain direction. There's not much of a visual signature. Again, it's something that if someone were to look at this image, it would be like as if their memory shows them in their mind, like as if they were there, what the colors and the feeling and the tones was like as they were there. The next one is called Classy Neg and has to be my top 2. Well, it is in the top 2. This one uses the classic negative film simulation, the new one that Fuji just brought out. Grain is set to weak and small. Color chrome effects blue is strong. White balance is at auto, but again, I'll adjust this depending on the scene. Dynamic range is 400, highlights -2, shadow -2, color +2, sharpness +1, and noise reduction -4. Now, what you've all been waiting for, the last profile, my most used profile, and I call it Oh Shit. Yeah, you heard that right. The profile is called Oh Shit. The reason that is, I primarily shoot in this profile because it makes it easier for me to compose images and focus on the subject. But also, when I show people the image, you know, the back of the LCD, whether it's my assistants or the model or whoever may be there, the most common reaction I get is, oh shit. So that's what I've named this profile, and I think those of you that are fans of black and white will absolutely appreciate this. This profile is geared toward people that are fans of black and white images, but also if you're shooting a lot of people in black and white, not really landscapes or architecture, that type of thing. If you have people in your frame, you're probably gonna like this one. The film simulation is set to Acros Red, and again, on these new cameras, you can customize the tone of your black and white. So I have the warm cool at -2, the magenta green at +1. This just gives for a slightly cooler look without it looking overtly blue. The grain is set to weak and small size. The white balance I have set for daylight. Dynamic range is at 200%. Highlights are at -2, shadows are at -1, sharpness is at +1, and noise reduction is at -4. I love this profile so much. It just gives me a really great result out of camera and a fantastic reference image when I'm editing the final raw files. But I actually shoot in this because, well, I just like to shoot in black and white. I like to just focus on the composition of the image, focus on the sources of light and painting with the light available. So even if I'm gonna take an image and later convert it to color and play with it in that way, I still find myself shooting in this profile, especially when I'm in the studio, for example. More often than not, I'll shoot with this profile and then later pick the images that I want to be in color. And I will say, maybe some of you should try it. It's one of these things where putting a constraint on your photography might foster more creativity in other departments, in other ways. Anyway, those are my top 7 Fuji custom profiles. There you have it. They didn't want me to share it with you, but I just had to. Take them, use them, run with them, evolve them, and let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have found this valuable, please do consider subscribing to the channel. It does make a big difference. Again, my name is Gajan. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.